saw how much this had personally affected you, and it really moved me. And so just on a human level, I'm really sorry for you and your loss at losing your friend. Just turning to the reaction though, so many parts of this really concern me. Obviously the killing itself, horrific that someone should be shot dead for their opinions. The way that so many on the woke left, young people, so gleefully raced to celebrate this on social media, joyously celebrating and reveling in this brutal murder of a young father. And then to watch the very liberal skewed mainstream media, you and I talked about this a lot, but look at the tortured ways they are trying so hard to avoid saying the obvious about this shooter and trying to find something, anything, to excuse what he did. All of it is grotesque.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for that, Piers. It was a devastating day and unlike anything I've ever experienced or want to experience again. You know, Charlie and I weren't the kind of friends who were meeting for dinner, but I'd had him on my show over 15 times in the past year and a half. Like I'd had him on tons of times. I'd been on his show tons of times. We did a bunch of Turning Point events together, and I spoke with him many times backstage. And so I felt like I knew him as a friend and knew what he stood for. Not to mention all the countless hours I've seen him on these college campuses and all the prep you do when somebody's coming on your show. So I do feel like I knew who he was. I really do. And he was total goodness. I mean, he was truly a happy warrior. The picture that's being painted of him by his detractors now bears no resemblance whatsoever to the man I knew. And they didn't. They didn't. Because I see what the few who will bother to offer evidence of their views that he was this terrible guy, a racist, what have you. It's helpful. I appreciate when they say why they thought that. Because I'm familiar with almost all of the incidents that they used to batter Charlie, and they're fake. It's fake news. Charlie was honestly the most optimistic person in our movement. I mean, I was saying to Tucker last night, I say it to you too, I think the rest of us are way more cynical mofos than Charlie ever was. You know, we've been in the business a long time. We're pretty cynical. That's what happens to you when you're a news person. Charlie wasn't a news person. He was like a prophet in some ways who was speaking the good word while using those biblical principles to try to persuade people over to his political worldview. And it gave him like an optimism and a happiness and a joy and a benevolent kindness in dealing with these kids on college campuses that, frankly, the rest of us have probably lost a long time ago. At least I certainly have. And that leads me to my point in response to your second points. I don't believe there's any reforming these people. I don't believe there's any shaming these people. I don't believe reaching out across the aisle will do anything to improve things with these people.